Today guys, I'm going to be creating a card which is featuring the Kite Delight stamp set. This stamp set is by Stampin' Up and it's in their mini spring catalog, which is expiring June 30th, 2022. I'm going to show you how this card could be created for any occasions for the young and old alike. So if you'd like to see the card that I created today, please do stay tuned. Welcome everyone. For those of you who are new to my channel, my name is Claudette with MsPuff Creative Corner. So let's jump into today's project. So this is a card that we'll be creating, and then I'm going to show you how I create the clouds on this, and I'm going to show you how it could be made for any occasion. So like I said, this is the stamp set that I'm using. This is a clear photopalmer stamp set. And also I'm going to be using the Rainbow Builder framelit dies. This die set is retired. I got it off of from Stampin' Up on their clearance rack. So look out for the clearance rack because then they get some good deals. And starting May 3rd, they're going to be having a new catalog coming out. So they have a lot of stuff that's on sale right now that they're not going to be carried over to their new catalog. Some of them are up to 50% off. So if you're interested in that, I'll leave the link down below. I am an independent Stampin' Up demonstrator. So let's jump into today's card. So I'm going to start out with a white piece of cardstock, which is measuring 5.5 by 4 inches. And I'm going to start out using the dies, the Rainbow Builder dies. And they have some dies that produces clouds. And I went ahead and cut some cardstock out with this particular die here. So I saved those pieces so then I could reuse it. And I am going to get some ink and my blending brush and a scrap piece of paper. Then we're going to create those clouds. So let's see here. So this is how it is going to be to the top. And I'm using a blue, and this blue is called Pool Party. And this is by Stampin' Up. And if you want to tape this down with washi tape or your crafter's tape that's not going to pull your paper up, go ahead and do that. But I'm going to turn this upside down because it's going to be easier for me to work with it. Keeping in mind that this is the top. So it's nice to use your grit paper if you like. You really don't have to. So I'm just going to put this right here. So I'm just guesstimating where I want it to be. There's no right or wrong about this. I'm just going to ink up my blending brush, kind of rub some off on my scrap piece of paper so I don't get a big blotch. And then I'm just going to rub that around the edges. I'm going to ink up again, dab it off, get around the edges. Alright, so I just want just a little light. So you could do it as light as dark as you want. So no two areas are going to come out the same. And you could flip it over on the other side too as well. And I'm just going to put it here, ink up, sponge off of my scrap piece of paper, and just get my edges. Like I said, this, you could cut this out if you don't have like a die like this. And so you could create your own. little stencil. So I would just Or you could get something that's circular and just trace these little circles to create your stencils and cut them out. So let's see, we're gonna go down here again. So let's just ink up. Okay. And you could always fill in if you feel that you have too much of a white space. Let's see. You could always fill in that gap. Like, there's no right or wrong way about it. Let's see. Okay. So you're gonna create until you're happy with what you have. Okay, and there we have our clouds. Okay, so next what I am going to do, I am going to take one of the kites. I am going to get this kite right here. I'm going to stamp it up in Memento black ink because I'll be coloring it in with some alcohol markers, and that works best when you're using your alcohol markers. And the tail, I'm going to use this particular tail right here. So let's bring in a scrap piece of white paper. And so this is going to be for my kite. And it's always good when you're using your photopolymer. It's recommended that you use a little cushion underneath the stamp. And I am just going to bring that cushion in. I'm going to bring my white piece of paper there and my Memento black ink. Let's bring that in and ink that up. And then we're going to go ahead and stamp off. And just remember, you have two sides of a paper if it doesn't come out perfect the first time. And that's that. So once that's drying a little bit so I don't smudge it, we're going to come over here on our layer where we created our clouds. I'm going to bring in a piece of designer series paper, which is measuring. This is measuring about 1 7/8 and 4 inches. So I'm going to put it down here for like some greenery. So I am going to do that there. So let's go ahead and glue that down, and I am going to get my liquid glue, and I'm using the Odd Glitter glue, and I got this from Amazon. It's not sold by Stampin' Up, and I like this glue because, as I always say, when it dries, it doesn't dry tacky. So if I get heavy-handed and it go off the edges, it would not be sticky. And that's why I don't use the Tombow glue as often. So I'm just going to get those edges lined up. And I just have a little overlap right here. No big problem. I'm just going to cut it off. Okay. All right. So next what I'm going to do is get the tail of my kite. So I'm going to ink this up with the Memento black ink. And then I am just going to stamp it here. So it'll be coming off there on the side. So next what I'm going to do is just bring in a Copic marker, and this is in yellow. This is Y15, and I'm just going to color in my flowers. And I think I'm just going to make them all yellow like the other one. Or you could make the little spot in the inside, that little circle spot, a different color. Like I could have picked up that green if I choose to, but I'm just going to make them all yellow. So I'm just going to go in and color the flowers. So now with the kite tail, I'm going to go ahead and color that yellow too as well. So if you guys are new to my channel and you like what you see here today, go ahead and hit that subscribe button as well as the bell icon so you can be notified when I upload my latest videos. And for those of you who are not familiar with alcohol marker, this kind of bleeds to the back. So if you're coloring, make sure you have something that's going to cover your back. So it bleeds, so you want to make sure you cover that up, okay? So you don't expose that, especially if you're giving it away. This is just a layer for the base of our card. Okay, so next what I'm going to do is give that a little sparkle, and I'm going to come in with my Wink of Stellar, and then I'm just going to go over those areas that I colored yellow with the Wink of Stellar. I'm going to do it here on the kite as well as the tail of my kite. All right, I should have cut this out first before the Wink of Stella so it could dry. But anywho, what we're gonna do in the meantime, I am going to get some gems, and these are like some clear epoxy gems, and they have little water drop shapes too, as well as the circle ones. I'm just gonna add those to in between the bows on the kite tail. And let me just show you that. Can you see the sparkle there on with the Wink of Stella? Let me see if I could zoom in. Okay, so next what I'm going to do is fussy cut out my kite, and which is, it's not bad because the lines are nice and long and straight. Next what I'm going to do is get some dimensionals. I need 2 dimensionals for the kite. I'm going to pop that up. Okay, so I'm going to add a dimensional right here. Bite that string. Then I am going to take and add one here to the top of the kite. All right, next what I am going to do is add a little bit of twine, add a little bow. So this is like a cream baker's twine, beige baker's twine, and I'm just gonna tie a little bow. And just snip that off. Then I'm going to get a glue dot and add that to it. All right, so I'm going to get my glue dots, and I am just going to get one here, ball it up a little bit. It could be nice and small, and I'm just going to add it right there underneath that kite. And I could have do without putting that little gem there because the bow is sitting right on top of it. I should have put it a little higher, my bow a little higher, the kite a little higher. Because with this, see how this one is, the sample is just a little higher, the kite. But no two cards are the same, and that's why they're handmade. All right, so next what we're gonna do is add a sentiment on there, and we're going to use Another Year Flies By, but we're going to mask off the happy birthday. So that's one stamp. So we're going to take some washi tape and mask that off because I just want Another Year Flies By. So here we go. I already have it on my block, and I am going to take my washi tape and tape the section with happy birthday off. And then I'm just going to run my nail through that, so make sure it's down there in the slit and none of the other words that I want is taped off. So then so next I'm going to just bring in my Momento black ink, stamp that up good. Then we just take off our washi tape. Put that off to the side and make sure it doesn't get on anything. And then what we're going to do is go ahead and stamp that right above the green. And then I'm going to give it a nice firm press. And that came out pretty good. So that's how you mask off your sentiment if you only want a certain portion of it. So Another Year Flies By. So next what I'm going to do is add a couple flowers. And I had these die cutouts from a project years ago where myself and a couple of my girlfriends got together and created some Easter projects. So I'm just gonna get some of these mini little flower dies and then glue them down. And I'm just gonna glue them down along the edges here. And this is a Take Your Pick tool by Stampin' Up. It has putty on the end of it, which is nice to pick up small little objects. So I'm going to glue those there in that spot. All right, so just add a drip of glue, and then we're gonna add that right there. Next, dab of glue, add that right here. Dab of glue, add that right here. Okay, so I'm going to come in with, let's see, those dies here. These dies are not by Stampin' Up. They are by the Glittery, and they give some beautiful edging. I forgot the name of it, and they don't have the name listed here on this, but this is from the Glittery. And I am going to go ahead and put this on and run it through my Big Shot, and it's just going to create that edging for me. So I'm just taking some washi tape and I'm going to hold that down in place, run this through my Big Shot, and come on back. And like I said, run it through your Big Shot first, then you go ahead and create. So next, what we're going to do is bring in our cardstock. And I have this purple cardstock, which I love. This was called Purple Posy, which is retired. Stampin' Up doesn't have it anymore. And I went ahead, I didn't add a layer for the inside. I just used the die cut. And I love that stitching work. And those are the Stitch with Whimsy die cut by Stampin' Up. And I think these are just beautiful. I use this layer right here. And I die cut that in the inside, so it doesn't cut out, but it just gives you those stitching on there. So we're gonna fold that in half. This cardstock is measuring 8.5 by 5.5. It's scored down the middle at 4 1/4. Then I'm just gonna take some dimensionals and pop this up. All right, I'm going to use these square or rectangle dimensionals. I'm not sure where I had gotten these from. I had these from a long time, whether it was the Dollar Tree or Tuesday Morning. I'm not sure where I got this rule from, but they're long and they covers more. And I think it have more height than the regular dimensionals that Stampin' Up have. So I'm just going to put these along here, some in the middle so it doesn't buckle. Then we're going to peel the back off. Okay, so next we're going to put it on the front of our card. Let's just try to center that. Okay, so next what I'm going to just do is add one final touch. I'm going to get some die cut out, like a little stem with some leaves on it. Then I'm just going to add it here to the inside. Add a little bit of glue. Then I'm just going to add it down here in the corner. So another year flies by, and then in the inside you could say Happy Mother's Day or whatever sentiment you want to add in here. So that's my project for today, guys. This is Claudette. Thank you guys for tuning in, and I'll catch you guys on my next video.